Hi, I'm Jason.
Hi, I'm George.
George.
Yeah, Georgina.
Oh, Georgina. And where are you from, Georgina?
I'm from London, and I'm CEO and founder of a company called truRating.
Brilliant. See that?
Should I tell you what we do before I get into my question?
Well, as a great entrepreneur, anytime you say the name of your business, you should have 4 words to describe it. So I'll give you 4 words. 3, 2, go.
Customer insight at the point of payment.
7, try again.
Customer insight at POS.
At pause? Customer
Can I use an
insight for
acronym?
retailers.
Yeah, but we go wider than the retail vertical.
Okay. Customer insights for businesses.
Yeah, right, we'll do that.
There you go.
I guess that's not our USP, because the USP is the fact that we're on the payment terminal where nobody else really is in that space.
Now you're in the weeds.
So that's what I was trying to get.
Yeah, you're in the weeds now.
So shall
Anyway, pretty good. Keep
Shall
going.
I give you a bit more insight as to what we do? So on that payment terminal, we just ask one question about an aspect of your experience. So it could be, please rate the service from 0 to 9, or it could be, please rate the product from 0 to 9. 1 second, and then you go through to pay.
Did you say 0 to 9? 0 to 9. Is that 0 to 9?
From London, where I'm from, it's 0 to 9.
0 to 9.
0 to 9.
You don't do a 10.
No.
Nobody gets a 10 ever.
Because 10 requires 2-digit presses, doesn't it? And so that you need.
I learned something.
1 second.
0 to 9. I always tell this to my team. Never be afraid to ask when you don't know somebody. Did anybody here ever hear 0 to 9 before? Who heard 0 to 9? Really? So half of us are. Oh, yesterday you heard. Aside from yesterday, how many people heard 0 to 9? So basically 2/3 of us never heard that. That's interesting. Okay, we all learned something today. So 0 to 9, right? Which is sort of like the NPS score.
Yeah.
Net Promoter Score.
Yeah, indeed.
How likely are you to recommend our product to one of your friends?
So that's one of our questions. But we ask a set of questions which rotate, and that feeds a merchant analytics dashboard for the merchant, as you'd expect, but also a consumer website. So like Yelp or TripAdvisor, but everyone is validated customers, and we operate at 88% of engagement rate, so it's far more representative. So you get out in Palo Alto and you say, what's the best Mexican for atmosphere and value? And within 1 second, you've got validated ratings from hundreds and thousands of customers. So my question to you is, we have offices in Sydney, London, Atlanta, and Toronto, but there's nobody like us in the world. And we're continually getting requests from payment partners who want our software to push out into their markets, from international merchants who want us to get us their software. And I had a discussion with a guy from the US who used to work for a VC, and I was telling him all about, shall we move into Latin America? Shall we move into the Nordics? And he said, in the US, especially if you're going to be looking at a US exit, pour every dollar you have back into success in US and don't go any further into any other global markets. And he said that the guys on Wall Street and American companies will just, they'll see if you're in, say, if you're in countries like, which are further afield, like whether it's Brazil or India, etc. They just think that wide expansion, and for a company of our, they just think it's better to focus on the US. So I was wondering what your opinion would be.
You always need to consider the source. You always need to consider the source of the advice.
Yeah.
So I listened to who you said this. This is a person who used to work for a VC.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't work for the VC for a reason. Maybe they're not a VC for a reason. It's a horrible advice. The world is getting smaller and smaller, and the US companies are looking for growth overseas. The companies here in the US that are doing fantastic make more money overseas than they do here in the United States. They have more cash overseas than they have here in the United States. So if you were to look at all the major tech companies, they all make more money outside the United States than in it.
Okay.
So this is the worst advice ever given to any founder, which is a good lesson for you, which is don't listen to any single piece of advice. You always should get feedback from a number of people who have done it before, and always consider the source. So a better source of information for you would be to talk to MailChimp or Wistia or Square or somebody, or just study what they've done. Yeah. And if you look at those companies, those are software as a service companies, SurveyMonkey comes to mind as well, and Have they translated their service? Do they have landing pages? Do they buy ads on Google AdSense in other countries? Do they buy it on Bing? Plug for Microsoft. Do they buy? Do they spend on advertising in these other places? If so, if they're spending money in other places, there must be a market for it. So for you, I would look at the other payment companies. I know that a lot of the payment companies, Braintree, Square, they are going global. They do see this as a very valid idea. So, and you're charging for your product. It's not a free product. It's you pay for it.
Well, there's a freemium for the SMEs, and then it's SaaS for the big guys.
So there is, when you charge for a product, you have the perfect opportunity to get data, just like you're providing data for them, which is you put up a landing page, you buy 1,000 clicks, and you see in that one translated landing page what the response is.
Yeah.
And so everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got ideas. Great entrepreneurs build tests to get data, to build strategies, and then they build plans based on the data and the tests.
Yeah.
So in all things, build a test. And that will give you a truer answer than anybody's opinion. I frequently have entrepreneurs come to me and ask me my opinion on something, and I stop for a second. I say, well, let's start with the data. And they say, we don't have data. I say, okay, what is the quickest, easiest way for us to get data, right? And if we quickly get data, we're going to, the whole conversation moves from emotional, charged, to just logical. Like, so as a leader, I remember 20 years ago, everything was very much like the founder was a god king, right? Or queen in this case. And you'd be like, Zeus and Athena come down from heaven and say this is the way things should be. It's not like that anymore. It's more democratic and, it's more scientific even more than democratic, because you really don't want everybody in the company voting, because then you just have, a group of 10 gods, on Mount Olympus voting. It's not the best way to run a business. The best way is to take the emotion out of it. And what I try to do to people is just challenge them for who can come up with the most efficient test. So what is the most efficient way for us to pick the next topic for, I'm doing these inside.com newsletters. So we did Inside Tesla. I said, what's the best next newsletter for us to do? And well, how do we test for that? And we had a bunch of back and forth. And I said, what if we asked our audience to tell us? It was like, okay, that's pretty good. And then I was like, what if we created a form that looked like, or one of my people said, why don't we create a form that looks like Kickstarter? And on the page, people put their email address in and vote on what they want. And then whichever one hits the tipping point first, we publish. And then we would have already collected the emails. And I just thought, thank the Lord, I don't have to answer the question and come up with the great idea. Austin came up with the great idea, and it's a much better idea than I was thinking of. I didn't have enough coffee that day or whatever. And I was like, this is brilliant. The vote equals a customer. So in your case, you could say, you build this landing page, you translate, to 10 different languages, the landing page, you run the test, and you say, put your email in if you'd like to join the beta of this.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Now the sales department, whichever one, gets the biggest response, or this one got 200 out of 1,000 people, 20% responded. Guess what? We have 200 hot leads.
Yeah.
Right?
Got the business case.
Yeah, you got the business case, and you have the Glenn Ross leads. You ever see that film?
No.
There's your homework. Who's seen Glenn Ross? Oh my God. That's just sometimes people haven't seen one of the classic movies of all time. It's a global group, that's why. Just everybody, make a note. See Glenn Ross this weekend, please, and then email me, jason@launch.co. Tell me what you thought about it. You can thank me later. It's a great, great film. It's important in terms of sales, but it's a great idea for a business, because businesses need feedback, right? And so ignore people who, a lot of times too, one of the things I find is the people who are most willing to give their opinions have the least to offer. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Ask Jason. What's our next question? It's a pleasure to have met you. Hey everybody, let's take a moment to thank our friends at Braintree. They have been a great supporter of This Week in Startups, and they are the simplest, easiest, and safest way to do payments. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about checkout experience. That's when people are checking out of your website. And do you know that 67% of online shoppers abandon their shopping carts? They put stuff in it and they don't actually check out and buy the products. Your checkout might actually be letting your customers slip away. And here's why. Your process may not be simple and clear, and you want it to be simple and clear. And you want the call to action when they're checking out to be concise and prominent. The fewer clicks, the better. And you want to let customers pay how they want, whether that's credit cards or debit cards or even these new forms of digital currency, and Braintree allows all of them. So the more options you give them, the more likely they are to check out. And of course, you want to reassure them about security. A lot of people get a little nervous still, even to this day, when they're checking out online, and you want to make sure you display those trusted icons throughout the process. Braintree is the payment platform that offers simple, secure checkout, and they accept every way you could possibly pay in 130 plus currencies. You can learn more by going to braintreepayments.com/twist, braintreepayments.com/twist, braintreepayments.com/TWIST/twist. It's a great product. A lot of my startups use it. In fact, every e-commerce startup I think I've ever invested in uses Braintree. It is state of the art. It's the best company for doing this. They constantly make the platform better. So go ahead and visit braintreepayments.com/twist. It's a total no-brainer. Okay, let's get back to this exciting episode.